This is my next spread in creating the journal. I've got these doors that echo the shape of this here, you'll see that in a minute, with a masquerade label which is also a magnetic closure on the doors. You open the doors, you've got these peacocks inside, these little bits and bobs, little bits of ephemera. You've got these two ladies hiding behind this fan, and this fan is here to keep those pieces in place when the journal is upright, so they won't fall out. And you can see, without these bits and bobs inside, that my doors, the tops of my doors, echo the shape of this here. You don't have to do that at all. If you want to go straight across the top, go straight across the top by all means. Do any shape you want. So that's that. Let's go ahead and make it. And I'm going to begin by drawing a line straight down my envelope, right down the middle. Now, taking a little piece of tracing paper, I'm going to trace off this shape here. If you want to just go with square doors, by all means do that. You don't need to do this shape, or you can make a different shape in there. It's just that with this lovely shape here, I just thought it would be nice to echo that on the doors. So there's my halfway point here. I'm going to draw inside that line that I can see there. I'm going to come up further than I think I need to, so that I know that I don't have to go back and revisit that. I'm going to do the same on the other side, just so that when I come to fold this in half, I can just check that everything's lining up as it should. So there's my shape. When I come to fold this in half now, I can see both sides together. I can make sure I line those up properly, fold this in half, and now I know exactly where I'm going on my envelope. So I'm going to lay this down, lay my envelope down on here so I can see where this needs to be positioned. That's where my piece of tracing paper is going. Here, I'll slide my envelope up just to make sure that I've got it all on the page, and I know that I'm coming about here. If I want to be sure of that, I can put a mark there, and I know, even if this slips off now, I know where I'm going. Line my seam of my tracing paper that I folded, line that up with my envelope, and then I'm just going to scribble. I've got the side that I drew on the tracing paper is now face down on the envelope, so that when I scribble over this line, I'm going to have the marks left behind. The graphite will transfer onto the envelope, and I've traced that off. So now I can go ahead and slice down the middle of my envelope and cut those two shapes out. There's my two pieces of envelope with the openings on the inside. I'll take my scissors and cut out these shapes. Let's have a look to see if that's worked out for us. There we go, absolutely perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and put a little seam of glue inside this raw edge. So we have the very beginnings of our opening doors that are going to reveal these ladies underneath. For the front, I've chosen this red because I think it would be a nice contrast with this black here, and also wanted to bring some more colour in. And also this image here, I want to have half on the left and half on the right. So I want to go ahead and I want to cut that in half. Just have a look how much I need for the width here, and cut a little bit wider just so that I've got some to play with. And now I can position this, bearing in mind that I print with a border, so I need to get that out of the way. Turn that over, and I'm going to draw around this shape, and I confidently go ahead and trim this down. I'll use my paper trimmer for the bits that I can, and my scissors for the bits that I can't. There we are, that's fine. And then I can trim down. I think I'll go ahead and I'll glue that on now, and then I'll cut that bit afterwards. And I'm using card for this because I want these panels to be really quite strong. Glue that in place, and I'll give that a moment to dry whilst I stick the other one down. I need to make sure that I line these up. There we are, hold on to that while I make myself a little mark there. Oh, look, I slipped. So that was a good job. It's a good idea to make a little mark so you can put things back. You haven't got to go right back to the beginning. You know where you're going with it. So I'll just draw around this. I'll go ahead and cut out my straight lines. I'll just check everything's lining up. That looks good. I'll go ahead and glue this on. There we are. There they are, inked up. I love inking up edges. It really defines shapes. And there we have the beginning of our opening doors with our secret little tuck spots. I've double mounted this little masquerade sign here just with black card. I stuck it down, but then I realised that I wanted to have a magnetic closure on this door, so I've managed to peel back a little bit here. And a good way to keep your magnets in place while you're sticking them together, sticking them between layers or whatever, is to put the magnet where you want it and put a magnet on the other side, and that will hold the magnet that you want to glue in place. Allow a good margin all the way around, obviously, so for the glue to take. So that will sit there, and then I need to find the corresponding place for the inside of this door. If I'd have had any sense, I'd have stuck the magnet on underneath this sheet of paper and on top of the envelope, but I didn't plan that far ahead, so now I'm just going to have to work around it. Turn this over, my magnet will stick there, and I know I'm in the right place. Okay, so I've cut a piece that's the same length as my door and allowed some extra for a hinge. Just going to draw down there on my scoring board, fold this piece in on itself, and I'm going to then go ahead and glue these two pieces together. Line them up nicely. Now I accidentally did this one off camera. It wasn't recording and I thought it was, but exactly the same as the other one, only this time we had a magnet under the back that's being held in place with the magnets that's inside there. So we can take this magnet off now and put that to one side. Well, that works beautifully. Now I can cut with the one that I glued on before off camera. I'll go ahead and trim this shape down now using my scissors. I think I'll use big scissors, I tend to get on a bit better with them. And the same with this one. Now we've got some really nice solid doors there. Ink up the insides just for that really nice finish. I'll round you off. And I'll round you off. Now I can glue my doors in place. There we are. Hold those down for a moment and let them grab. They look really good and they fit. So now I've got a magnet in here that should grip on to the magnet in there. Now remember, I've had to put mine under here, which is a bit of a pain. I should have thought ahead and put it under this top sheet, but I haven't done that. So I'm going to glue now under this part of the closure, pop it down onto my magnet, and then bring this piece down and line it up. There we have our, I'm going too soon with this, we have our opening doors. Whilst I'm waiting for those doors to dry, because I really want those hinges to go off before I start messing with them, I'm going to make the fan for the bottom. So I've cut myself a strip of the same paper. The width of the fan, I've cut the fan straight on the bottom. This can be found on the page with all the peacocks on it. And it's about an inch and a half, doesn't really matter. I'm going to score down the middle and do the same kind of thing as I did with the door. Make a hinge so we can see the nice part of the paper when we open. So those two white sides go together. So we can glue those in place. I've got a little bit here to lose. I'll just trim this down so it doesn't show at the front of the fan. There we are, that'll do fine. Put my glue on. There we are, and then I'll lose this white edge of the hinge. And I'll round my corners off because I've done that with the door hinges. Looks great. So I can now go ahead and stick my fan in place. I've got a little bit of overlap there, but that's absolutely fine. And I want to make sure I don't stick this down beyond the doors. I don't want you to be able to see it when the doors are closed. I'm not going to be too rough with that little masquerade sign just yet. Check it with the doors. That looks fine. And now I've got my little place to hold my bits and bobs, and it won't fall out when the journal is in an upright position. Put this butterfly on. It's not from the kit. It's a little one that I have lying about, and I'm just really attracted to this little bit of dark and this little bit of dark and this little bit of dark against these colours. And I'm just going to glue half of him on. There we are. And for some last secret little bits of beautiful eye candy, I'm going to take this glorious peacock and I'm going to glue it on here. It fits. It's not quite on the right angle, but it fits and it will do. It adds a beautiful splash of lavish colour. What a fantastic piece of vintage imagery that is. And that works for me. Isn't that just lavish now? What a beautiful treat to open up to. You can take these out and then you've got these two ladies hiding behind this fan here. Very pleased with that spread. And we close it up with a nice satisfying little snap of the magnet.